We need to be ready to fight. This fight is coming 100% on January the 20th or January 21st.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford with a stark warning ahead of President-Elect Donald Trump's proposed tariffs on Canada and his own threats to the U.S.
We will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State and over to Wisconsin.
Ford now threatening to cut off power to the U.S. after Trump said he would impose a 25% tariff on Canadian goods unless Canada improves its security along the border and fixes its drug crisis. This morning in New York, Trump brushed off Ford's threats.
Well, that's okay if he does that. That's fine. We shouldn't have to subsidize a country. We're subsidizing them for more than $100 billion a year. And we shouldn't have to be doing that.
Nothing is off the table. I mean it.
The Ontario Premier now being joined by BC's leader, both ready to use their own exports as leverage.
There are key inputs for the United States that come from British Columbia that we need Americans to understand.
David Eby says if necessary, he's ready to impose retaliatory tariffs on the province's key exports to the U.S., like minerals, manufacturing parts, and even energy. The premier saying Western states like Washington and California bought roughly $1 billion worth of electricity from the province last year. So he says if Trump goes ahead with his 25% levy, it will hurt Americans too.
In other words, people in those Western states will be paying, and companies, 25% more on top of the existing cost of electricity.
Premiers from across the country met for the second time on Wednesday to form a plan on how to address the president-elect's threats. Eby says it'll take a unified approach from provincial leaders.
We'll talk about tariffs, we'll talk about energy, we'll talk about critical minerals, we'll talk about all the pieces that will get the attention of the Americans, and British Columbia will be part of that discussion.
The federal government is releasing a plan on improving border security in the coming days.